Believe it or not, these aren't dummy units. I actually broke into Foxconn, slid through Tim's clutches, and grabbed all of these off the assembly line. No, these are dummy units like you've seen on YouTube. But it gives us our most comprehensive look yet at the iPhone 13. I mean, we've been talking about leaks and rumors, but now they're in front of us. I've also got the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 12 Pro in front of me, so we can do a one-to-one comparison of the design changes coming, because while they aren't going to be super different and the overall design is remaining the same, there's a couple things at Apple changing that I think will be just enough to keep people interested. So what are you waiting for? If you're excited for today's video, drop a like down below. It seriously helps me and the channel out. And click that subscribe button and turn on the bell for notifications so that you never miss a beat. So shocker guys, there are going to be 4 new iPhones this year. It's almost like you could look at last year and say, hey, isn't that what Apple did? That is what they did. And the sizing is remaining identical again. Even though the Mini has been a horrible performer for Apple, they are not getting rid of it this year. The 5.4-inch iPhone 13 Mini will be the cheapest iPhone that you can buy. That brings us to the 6.1-inch iPhone though, which is by far always the most popular model because it's like the middle tier. But if you want to spend more money, you've got the Pros, which is the $999 iPhone 13 Pro with the same 6.1-inch display, but there's a Pro Max 13 because that hot mama's coming in at 6.7 inches again. So at a base, it's the same as last year. You might say, okay, well then why do I want to upgrade? Why would I even look at the iPhone 13 if I already have the 12? Well, this is where it starts to get fun, right? Because Apple said we have to make it look a little different, right? Now that being said, Apple does have some pretty interesting design plans, one of which I think is going to freak most of you out because it is a bit off-putting at first. And although I've come to like it now, the new camera system truly does look like a little gremlin at first. Apple is crisscrossing the cameras. So on the iPhone 12, you can see that they're vertical, like a normal phone generally is, but Apple is putting them diagonal this year. And while there hasn't been an explicit explanation, I think it has to do with something like the bigger camera sensors or lenses coming. You'll notice in these leaked case photos that the camera module and the lenses themselves are getting larger. So I think if Apple stacked them below and on top like they used to, it would just be simply too big and it would be too cramped. So Apple's like, let's just flip-flop it to alleviate this issue. You know, I wanted to look at it in person and say, oh, but the renders make it look way worse. No, it looks weird. I'll be honest with you, this looks weird. When you got the two stacked on top of each other, it's pretty normal, but this is odd. This is a weird choice. And before moving on, let's take just a quick second to thank today's sponsor. You might be wondering why I'm in the shower. Well, it's because it's summertime. It's hot as hell outside, and WeVPN just started their summer sale. You guys know that VPNs help you stay safer and more anonymous online, and there's a reason I use WeVPN instead of everybody else. The guys over at WeVPN are a group of industry veterans that left all the other VPN companies doing sketchy stuff with your data in order to make a product that not only gets better every week, but that also cares about you. On top of that, WeVPN allows you to unblock content on now more than 350 streaming services around the world, meaning you can watch shows that aren't usually available in your area. I've used this and it's so cool. And right now there's a crazy deal happening. The summer sale is live, which means that for a limited time you can get 74% off and 3 months of free service when you purchase a 2-year plan. That's just $2.59 a month, and on top of that, when you use code iupdate, you get an additional 10% off. Listen, there's a reason that I continue to work with WeVPN each and every single week, and it's because I use it and I believe in it. If you guys like what I do here on YouTube, then head over to wevpn.com/iupdate and get started today. The regular sized iPhone 13 Pro and iPhone 13 Pro Max are getting almost no upgrade as far as camera weirdness, but the modules are getting a bit larger. It's actually pretty crazy when you line up the iPhone 12 Pro's camera system next to the iPhone 13 Pro's. It is a major upgrade. It looks around 20 to 30% bigger seeing it in person. It's pretty big, which I think means that Apple is going to be doing these massive camera upgrades. From pretty credible sources, we're hearing that portrait mode video could be coming and that broadly a lot of Apple's upgrades this year could be focused on video, including better optical zoom. So it's going to look better when you're zooming on the telephoto on the Pros. That's a good reason for it to get a little bit bigger, other than it just being bigger to be bigger. And I'm actually excited because I've got the Pro and the Pro Max in front of me and the camera modules are the same size. So I don't think we're gonna see another 2020 repeat where you buy the Pro Max and you get sensor shift stabilization and better aperture and improved low light performance. I think we're gonna get that on both the Pros this year, which is so good for everybody that doesn't want the Pro Max size. Which is me, I hate the Pro Max size. I think it should be banned. 6.7 inches is too big, hot take. Change my mind. Let me know down below if you use a Pro Max, but just know you're not human if you are, because I have big hands. You know what they say about big hands? Still not big enough for the Pro Max. But when you turn the phones around, I think it's gonna be what most people enjoy and are pleasantly surprised by because of the smaller notch with the relocated earpiece. It may have taken them a while to do this, and I think they should have done this 2 years ago. We're finally getting a smaller notch. Hooray, we did it, we made it. And there's evidence on these models of the speaker being relocated to the top bezel, which is actually pretty smart. Because the big question with the current notch that houses Face ID was like, okay, but where does the speaker go? And Apple said, what if we just put it at the very top, sort of as part of the bezel design, which I think is a good design choice. I think it's gonna look good, and the smaller notch will finally make this just look a bit more modern from the front. All the phones are getting the smaller notch, but only 2 of them are getting 120 Hz this year, which is something I have been just absolutely so excited for so many years, because it's something that we've had on the iPad for many years now. A ProMotion display is 120 Hz refresh rate, meaning that 120 times a second the screen is refreshing. So a scroll that normally looks really buttery smooth looks twice as good. I'm sure you've seen it on the ProMotion iPad Pros that have been out for a while now. It is the most incredible feature ever. So spending the extra money this year on the Pro or the Pro Max is gonna get you 120 Hz. I personally think that would be enough to push most people over the edge, because it's one thing to say, oh, 120 Hz, but when you see it and you feel it, and it touches your heart, it's just a whole different ballgame. Like, that one feature is what makes me get the Pro iPad over any other iPad, even if I don't need the Pro iPad features. I'm telling you, when you see these screens, they are going to blow your mind. Android has them, and they are incredible. I have seen it, and I can't wait. Like, that is worth $1,000 for me on my phone. It's sounding like camera upgrades, and then the 120 Hz on the Pros are the big features this year. We were supposed to get Touch ID, and we've heard that it's not coming, which is heartbreaking, and I'm so upset about it. But engineers have called this an S year, and that's why the rest of the changes are gonna be internal. Of course, a faster A15 processor that actually one credible source says could rival the M1 chip in power. Now, not hit exactly there, but get close, which is something I haven't heard a lot of people talk about, and that would be pretty nutty if there was actually an M1 even like chip. If the A15 chip could rival the M1, that would be pretty nuts. There's also gonna be faster Wi-Fi 6E on the inside here, which is going to expand Wi-Fi to the 6 GHz spectrum to decongest, which essentially means you might get longer range, faster speeds. But there's a couple other minor changes around these devices as far as button placement, but nothing too drastic. I mean, some of the buttons have been moved up or down just a few millimeters, the SIM tray, a few millimeters it looks like. I show you all of this on this year's iPhones to say that this is not the iPhone 12 upgrade. This is not a radical new design. This is not a huge change. This is gonna be for people that didn't buy the iPhone 12, and Apple's like, well, I guess we have to do something this year. And that's why this is not the most exciting, not the most groundbreaking, but still a new iPhone. And this is it. This is the iPhone 13. That's why I went out and got these shipped straight from a specific country that makes iPhones, and they're in front of me. So if you enjoyed this, if you learned something new, drop a like down below. It does seriously help me and the channel out, and hit subscribe so you're staying up to date down to the minute of when these iPhone 13s get released in September in just under 2 months. It's crazy. We're almost there. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you cool cats in my next video. I'm gonna go back to my cave. All right, see you guys. Bye.